So where he gets credits is the fact that he's not necessarily deviated from what Klopp was doing. At least the base for what he's doing was laid by Klopp. But he's taken that, while not playing typical Klopp football, he's introduced a bit of control, but doing that while still getting the consistency and the results. Because the football is still good, right? They will not dominate you for 90 minutes. They will not control the game for 90 minutes. But they stay in the game, and they manage the game such that even when you have the momentum, they limit the chances you're able to create, and they limit the involvement of your key actors.
Yeah.
And that is very vital, because if you look at the players who have been important to Ancelotti, he's not reinvented the wheel. It's the same guys who are doing well under Klopp. So it's the goalkeeper, it's that back four. If anything else, he's benefited from Ibrahim Konate staying fit this time around, and now we're beginning to see the quality. His introduction of Gravenberch is perhaps the new variable that he's introduced into the midfield. But it's still Mohamed Salah. It's still Trent when the team is attacking. Only that this time around, Trent is not being as expansive, right? He's not allowed to take as much risks or as many risks as he used to under Jurgen Klopp. Otherwise, the games that they are winning are games that are expected to win. But you also have to be fair to him and say that they don't look as open as they did under Klopp. Right?
Yeah.
They are not conceding as many chances as they were before. But there is also something to be said about the fact that the games they are winning are games that you expected to be winning.
Yeah, but that's the thing about the Premier League. Games you expect to win are not really games you win.
No, but
not for Man City.
Last season, the performances that we saw from Liverpool, against Chelsea especially, are things that you would expect that at this point, when Chelsea have gone through another managerial change, and at the beginning of the season, we really did not expect them to come this, even as well as they've done. The pre-match conversation was that Liverpool are favourites. And that game, in fairness, went according to script. If there was one game where I felt they perhaps ought to have dropped points, it was against Wolves. But it was all within an 11-minute spell. All the chances and the half chances that they conceded, it was within...
Give them a lot of credit for the draw against Arsenal. How much credit did you give them for that?
I think
last weekend.
I think they managed to shut down Arsenal, because and I know people are going to reference that, Newcastle have also done it because they limited the chances that Arsenal could create. But any team that does that deserves credit, right? Because they managed to keep out all of Arsenal's best creators. Yes, there is something to be said about the fact that Partey was playing in an unfamiliar position. And maybe if Diaz had been a bit more effective, because look, no matter what you say about Partey doing well at right back, I don't think any winger worth a salt. I mean, the elite wingers are going to go through 90 minutes. They may not necessarily dominate you all through the game, but you would expect that by the time the game is over, they would have one telling moment, and that may be what wins them the game, right? So I'm going to give him the credit and say, look, he shackled Arsenal for 90 minutes, made sure that they got a result. And that was a game they didn't necessarily have to win. All they needed to do was to get a result from that game.
Do you think they have it in them to win the league, Liverpool?
I haven't seen enough to make that.
Look, the whole time you was talking, I just knew that you was not convinced about
at the start of the
season. No, not that. Because
I personally thought that this Liverpool team, maybe Slot will need some time. Yes, he's a really good coach. Yeah. But look, we can't keep skipping the obvious. They faced Arsenal, they faced Man United, they faced Chelsea. Look, they are facing very good teams. And you might say they are winnable fixtures, but others are playing those games and aren't winning. Arsenal faced Brighton at home, didn't win. Liverpool won.
Yes.
They went away to Arsenal, a direct title contender, and they got a very good 2-2 draw. Yep. Now, when you look at
Chelsea, when they didn't play well.
They didn't have to play well to beat Chelsea. Chelsea went to. In fact, you look at the Chelsea-Man United game. You look at what Chelsea is doing this season. Chelsea went away to Old Trafford, didn't win. Liverpool went to win 3-0. It was easy.
Yeah.
How many big games are there in this first half of the season? It's left with Tottenham, it's left with Manchester City.
That's it.
If you look at the way they are playing, does it really tell you that they are going
to... Those are two games.
No,
yeah, but also, look, in the narrative about the Premier League.
Actually, I want to hear from you.
In the narrative
why are you so unsure about Liverpool? Like, you say you haven't seen enough. Why? Yeah. Like, what do you want to see?
at the beginning of the season, I mentioned that the key match winners for them in the season when they've not won the league, it's been that bend after January, when it looks like Salah is not the guy who's replicating the form he had at the beginning. What Salah is doing it now, is what he typically does.
So if I get
Right.
it, so you're concerned that
When the goals
dry out,
it will dry up. And here's the thing.
and no one else will step up.
Because they have, last season, between February and April, dashing man Darwin Núñez scored 1 goal. And that was the season Liverpool were challenging for the league.
Under Klopp.
But it's different.
That was
Under
under
Klopp.
Klopp, yes. And I'm
Who
saying,
attacks incessantly
Yes, and
and
I'm
wears
saying-
out the players.
and I'm
this
saying-
manager has introduced control, like you rightly said.
Yes.
Where the players conserve a lot of energy, and you still think they'll burn out.
and I'm saying that, let's get to the point where I see the other, because for every big game that you talk about, it's still been Salah. Let's get to the point where we see them, the other match winners, assuming responsibility, right? And then, because look, for all that we are saying about Liverpool now, which credible team have they played? Arsenal. Chelsea are not the standard. Man United are not the standard. They are not. They are not the standard metric for measuring the quality of a team.
if we are going down
this is
that-
a league, right?
Yes.
And these
Premier
are the
League, for
direct
goodness sake.
competitors. So you need to be in the Premier League of 20 teams. The
Friends.
direct competitor is not winning
Friends.
or getting 3 points.
It's a Premier League.
Friends,
Like,
friends,
Yes.
in the past 3 seasons, you can name the watershed moments for the Premier League title race.
So you want to see Liverpool beat?
I'm
I
just-
want to ask a question.
Yeah.
How many times
Yeah.
have we seen in the past, let me say 5 seasons,
Yes.
in the Premier League, has the league been decided by the 2 teams who are running for the title?
Not necessarily the 2 teams, but there are certain teams you don't get past them.
Like who?
Like Liverpool in Arsenal's
Liverpool
first title
can't
race.
face themselves.
No, I'm
So
saying
aside
that.
Manchester City.
I'm giving you an example. In Arsenal's first title race, the game that deflated them was that 2-2 draw at Anfield.
So let's say last season,
Yeah.
what game would you say was the watershed game for Man City?
No, I know about
they won
Arsenal's.
the league. You
For
said
Arsenal's. It was that game at Aston Villa.
We're talking about potential winners.
Yes.
For Man City last season, which game was their watershed game?
We're having a conversation about teams with the propensity to falter. And I'm giving you an example of a team that faltered similarly. Because at least then you know that there's a
And
certain...
for Arsenal, it was Aston Villa.
Yes.
So you're telling me until Liverpool faces an Aston Villa or a Manchester City or who
You're
again?
not convinced.
That's it.
Okay. Interesting.
Because look,
Let's
They-
go back. You know, it's okay. It's
Yeah.
okay. Enough of that.